Hello, and welcome to the Hello You Show, where we talk about big dreams and taking real action. Through transformative stories, a bit of neuroscience, and real conversations, this show is here to help you explore creating your next level life with authenticity and passion. I'm Jessica Rice, a design techie and former engineering leader turned vision evolution coach on a mission to help other women rise up and lead a life of purpose. So get cozy and say hello again to the real you. Hello, and welcome back to the Hello You Show. My name is Jessica Rice, and I am your host for today. And we are joined by a very special guest, Krystal Jugarap, who is the CEO and founder of Book of Bijou and Empowered by Women. She is a motivational speaker, writer, podcast host, philanthropist, self-proclaimed community hype woman, and most importantly, mama to 2 girls and a newborn baby boy. Through her Empowered Women platform, she has cultivated a community that continues to uplift women in entrepreneurship through vendor fairs, networking events, the Empowered Women podcast, their online women-owned small business directory, and so much more. Krystal's mission is really to remind women that they are not only capable, but so worthy of creating lives that they love. So thank you so much, Krystal, for joining us today. I'm so happy to have you with us. Thank you. So tell us, where are you joining us from?
Well, first of all, Jessica, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I am joining from the beautiful Bay Area in California.
Wonderful. Me too. I'm in California as well. So it's an awesome place, I will say.
It is. Great people. Definitely with the small business space and the women empowerment space, it is an amazing community that we have here.
Mm-hmm. And I know I was looking at your website. We'll talk more about that. But I was looking through and I was like, oh my goodness, there's so many local places to meet. I was excited. So I'd love to know, I know you have this really fascinating story, and would you be willing to just share with us a little bit about your story and how you kind of got to where you are now?
Absolutely. So I always knew I was going to go down the entrepreneurship route ever since high school. I really thought I was going to be a fashion designer, if I'm being honest. But that didn't play out. I think when I was in high school, I was still very much in like that perfectionist mindset where I wasn't comfortable putting things out into the world unless it was 100% fine-tuned, absolutely perfect, and it wouldn't need any kind of tweaking, right? It was just ready for the world. So, I was very naive back then, right? Because perfection doesn't exist. But long story short, ever since that point, I was kind of always just taking on like jobs that kind of gave me some autonomy to scratch that entrepreneurial itch, right? So I was like an independent consultant for a jewelry company. I was an independent designer for this closet company where I could just go and kind of make my own schedule and design closets. Everything had some sense of creativity, some sense of ownership. And it was in 2020 when I came up with the idea of our product line, Book of Bijou. So it is a product line. It's a jewelry organizer designed to look like a coffee table book. And that really came to be because I had sold jewelry previously and I had accumulated so much of it. And I was really tired of staring at it all because I had maybe like 10 different displays. They did not match each other and they were completely overtaking my shelf. And I was also a new mom. So shelf space was really, really valuable. I wanted to reclaim my shelf space. I wanted to put my jewelry somewhere else, something that was compact and contained, but still looked very aesthetically pleasing. And I couldn't find anything online. That's like the usual entrepreneur story, right? We didn't find the solution that we were looking for, so we created it. And I was born in a very creative household. So DIYs and being creative, that was very natural for me. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to DIY my own storage solution. And I love a coffee table book. You can see I have some books behind me that are for display that fit into the home decor that I really like. So I created this organizer where you can flip through pages of your jewelry. It's like a tangible lookbook. And that is where my entrepreneurship journey really, really started. We launched in 2021, and I went into it knowing, you know what? When I sold jewelry, I had this amazing community of women around me, and I want that back, right? If I'm going to go into business for myself, I still want that community that I had when I was an independent stylist for this other company. So, how can I recreate that? And that's how Empowered by Women formed. It launched shortly after our launch of Book of Bijou. And it's funny because it really has taken a life of its own. Like when I created the Empowered by Women platform, I just wanted the energy and really for myself, right? I didn't want to be in entrepreneurship alone. I just wanted to have an amazing circle of other women in business around me that were equally ambitious, equally creative, so that we can bounce ideas off of each other, support each other. And I just wanted to create that energy. And ever since launching, it's just like been this really, really beautiful natural progression where, we started off with doing interviews on our kind of like informal podcast because I wanted to get to know these women. And then I wanted to get the women together in person. So that's how we ended up doing our first vendor fair. And from that, people were always asking me if I knew vendors that sold certain things. So that's how our directory started. And it's kind of snowballing and taking this beautiful life of its own. And it's something that I'm becoming increasingly passionate about. So we really are this amazing community of women that genuinely want to see each other win. It is not just like community for the sake of community. I know that's a complete buzzword that people like to throw out, but we really are here to show up for each other and to promote each other, to increase each other's brand visibility, to share our resources, and to really just fill each other's cup so that we can keep showing up and do the things that we're meant to do.
I love your story. And it's such like this grassroots effort that it sounds like to me as well, how it came together and really just started to take this kind of life of its own. And also just, I love how you kind of transitioned through all these various, kind of outlets for yourself that were creative and inspiring. And then really started to think about like, well, what else could I do? And what's next for me?
Absolutely.
And I'm kind of curious to know too. So at what point, I know you wanted to not really go this journey alone, but at what point did you really realize that you wanted to kind of support women in a greater way?
I think just because when we had that first vendor event, that was in May of 2022, that really like put our community on the map or our platform on the map. Like, oh, hey, check out this new platform that's doing all these fun things. And that event in and of itself, where we were in person, where I was surrounded by so many women, oh my gosh, the energy was incredible. And not only did I get to be surrounded by all of these incredible women, but I also brought my two daughters along. I didn't have my baby boy yet. I brought my two daughters along and I got to expose them to all of these incredible women doing all these amazing things. And just the feedback that I got from the community, the support, again, the energy, it like lit a fire in me. And it made me recognize like, I started this Empowered by Women platform really because I wanted to be surrounded by that kind of energy, right? That kind of space. I wanted to keep being inspired and I wanted other people to be inspired. But there is obviously this huge need and demand from everyone else around me that want this type of community too. So we kind of hit the ground running from there. And I was really just allowing myself to be like an active participant in the community, right? Listening to what it is that they're really looking for. What are they really loving? What are they needing? And okay, since this is lighting me up so much, since it feels so good to just be in this space, what can I do to keep on supporting them so that we can keep exchanging that incredible energy?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I love how it really does sound like community in the sense of, because I think it is hard for women sometimes where when we're brought up, even and in corporate culture too, is just this competition feels so fierce sometimes. And I think slowly but surely we're kind of chipping away at that as we come together And I love that. I think it's beautiful how more and more women are starting to really recognize that there is more than enough room for all of us to shine together. And it's not a competition, but it's like arm in arm, we can rise up.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. We would not be where we are today if I didn't have the help and support of all the women in our community. Collaboration has been a huge force in, really just up leveling our trajectory.
Mm.
Again, when I started it, I was like, I don't know, I'm just, I'm in it for the fun of it. But I started working with other women, and that's how big moves started being made, right? And happening, and how we were able to expand at the pace that we've been able to expand. And it really is sad to see that there are still some women that don't believe that there is a community like that out there. And I come across those women still often that are maybe afraid to reach out and ask for support because maybe in the past they've experienced women that were still in that very competitive mindset where, they have to gatekeep everything and they have to look out for themselves, and they don't recognize the power of collaboration, the power of competition or community. So having that be their only experience, they just don't ask for support anymore. They don't ask for help. And they're kind of hustling and trying to do everything on their own and getting overwhelmed with all of that. So hopefully, by getting exposure to our community, they're recognizing like, wow, there really are people out there that want to lift me up, that want to see me win, and that will help me get to where I want to be. So that is what we're trying to provide to our community.
Mm. I love that you brought that up too, in the sense that, that there are so many women who do struggle with that and based on the experiences that they had. And, I was one who experienced that on the corporate side in the tech sector, and really this feeling that there's only so much room at the top. And so it started, you have those experiences and they stick with you, and it does kind of break down those trust walls, or build them up. Yeah, it breaks them down. How am I saying this? But truly, the more that we can start coming together. And I think that was a big thing for me too. And I started to realize that there are women out there who do want to support and build you up. It was kind of this wave of relief that came over me personally too. And so I love that your community offers that, and you're continuing to kind of chip away at those walls that they're putting up sometimes.
Absolutely. And oh my gosh, the relationships that I've been forming have just been so beautiful. And it really is validation that, this is where I'm meant to be. I've, found a purpose that kind of just fell into my lap. And it really has supported this new era that I'm in where I really want to create a life that is like aligned to everything that I've always envisioned, right? As much as I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I also knew that I was always going to be a mom, which has also come to fruition. So I'm a mom of 3. And of course, I want to be a really successful businesswoman. I see that happening for myself. I know that I am here for more than just me. I am here to make a greater impact, but I also know that I can do that while still supporting my family and being an amazing mom and being able to really just step into this role where it feels so good, where it's something that I'm so passionate about, where the energy is refueling my fire and allowing me to come back home as a more patient, compassionate mother that's, excited about life and encouraging them to do the same, to chase their dreams. It feels really good. So that's, just another layer to our mission to not only remind women that they're capable, but moms especially that, you're more than just a mom. Like if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, kudos to you. I honestly can never do it. It is the hardest job in the world, but that is not all that you have to be limited to, right? That's probably the most amazing title that you can have, but there's still so many other facets to you, and you can have it all. You can do it all. You can create a business that supports also the personal lifestyle that you want to have.
Hmm. And I think that's such an important message that you're delivering too, in the sense that while, it's wonderful being a mother and it's so hard and challenging, I definitely feel that. And also when we pour more of ourselves into other things that are of interest to us, we're filling our cup back up, so to speak, so that we're no, we're not just focusing only on how we give, but also how we can receive so that we can give and take care of ourselves.
That part right there, how you can receive also, I think that's huge, right? I think with, being in spaces of community, we're constantly trying to support others. And being in motherhood, we're constantly trying to support our kids. But how are we allowing ourselves to receive the same support? Are we willing to ask for help? Are we willing to have that kind of communication with our partner to say, hey, I just need an hour or two to do this, to take care of myself, to do this thing for my business that will help propel it to where I want it to be? Um, and, with our kids, we're constantly telling them, you can do big things, dream big, follow your dreams, don't settle. But how often are we actually being that cheerleader for ourselves and taking our own advice and being willing to dream big and chase our dreams?
Mm-hmm. And what I love is that you're modeling that for your kids, and you're modeling that this is a new way that we can operate, and for girls especially. I think, the conversation so much was kind of grow up. And even when I was like, I'm not that old, but even then, even when I was younger, I remember, in high school and in those certain conversations where it's kind of like who you're going to grow up and marry and just become a mom to. And there were, or it was like you had a career and you kind of couldn't do both.
Mhm.
And I think this narrative is starting to change. And also that we're not only here to serve, we're here to do other big things in the world. And so I think this message is being perpetuated, which is wonderful.
Yeah. And I think there's so many opportunities that are presenting itself to us as women to do that, right? To take
Mhm.
advantage of that, with a lot of people working from home now, or recognizing that yes, moms can be successful in whatever their role is, and giving them the opportunity to have a little bit more flexibility will allow them to excel in that position. We really need to take advantage of that, right? To take advantage of this moment where there is this huge shift in women empowerment, in recognizing the power of motherhood and moms in these professional roles. And I don't know, just keep pushing forward and recognizing that there is no limit to what we can do.
Mhm. Well, and I love that you mentioned that there is no limit. And so that leads me to what I wanted to my next kind of question for you, which is in this process and what you've created for yourself and now with this community, what do you feel like is that you have learned about yourself in this process?
I really learned that I am more powerful than I could have ever imagined. I knew, like I said, I've always known that I was meant for something bigger than myself. I never quite knew what that would be, but recognizing that the work that I'm doing is having this really beautiful ripple effect of inspiring other people, especially women, to take that step into the direction of their dreams is incredible. To see that that is happening right in front of my eyes, to see that collaborations are being built because of this space that I've created, to see that women are finally willing to own their voice and be like, hey, I do have a story to share and it is worth sharing.
Mhm.
It's a like this beautiful transformation to witness. And I feel like I'm can you repeat your question? I think I'm getting lost in my own words.
No, it's fine. I just was curious that, sometimes when we're embarking on these types of paths and it's so inspiring to us, but we also learn something about ourselves
Mhm.
in that process.
Yeah.
And was curious to know, like, just kind of what do you feel like has come forth for you?
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to being more powerful than I could have ever imagined, I think there was, going back to high school, like I was very much in this perfection mindset. I was in this people pleasing mindset, but recognizing like I can make so many things happen. And just by allowing myself to show up and ask all the right questions, like I am capable of making so much impact. I think I've learned that I'm not as shy and timid as I used to be. I'm not as awkward. as I used to be. And there is so much value in my voice. I think that's something that I'm still actually learning, because there are so many times where I'm like wanting to maybe, go on IG stories or go on live and just share my thoughts for the day. But there, of course, are still those moments of imposter syndrome where it's like, I don't know, are people really interested in what I have to say? But clearly they have been, right? Because we're building this community. We are attracting so many amazing people, and the traction is there. And I'm slowly learning more and more, like, yes, you have a powerful voice. Yes, you know how to use it. So keep showing up for yourself, keep showing up for the people around you, and make the difference that you were destined to make.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think it's a great message. It's a beautiful message that I think a lot of women can really take with them, because it's so true. When we have little thoughts of imposter syndrome, or who wants to listen to me, or do I, whatever, am I qualified enough? Those are all these like figments of our imagination to a certain extent that we have kind of believed about ourselves. And yet you've proven the opposite. And I think we don't see that sometimes until it starts to happen, and we've discounted it for so long. But now you have like this irrefutable proof of, actually, I can do so much more. And you're continuing to do more. And so you're continuing to prove yourself that you're really unstoppable with whatever it is that you put your into.
Exactly. So that made me remember, when I launched my business, our product line, Book of Bijou, I really had this like mental shift, right? And I had to really reflect back on my life up until that point. And I realized, you know what? I've been like really good at a lot of things in my life. And I learn really quick, and I'm eager to learn. And whenever it's something that I enjoy doing, I excel at it. So who's to say that if I were to launch this business and go down this route, that I wouldn't be good at it? Like, why am I crafting that narrative in my head when all of my past experience says otherwise? So leaning into that and recognizing, like, yes, I'm going to bet on myself because I've proven myself worthy in the past, but I've always been doing things for other people, right? To check off those boxes of what society expects of you, right? And getting the college degree, getting a great job, meeting a partner and having babies. I've done all of that. Now let's do something for myself and keep excelling the way that I have been. But now it feels more aligned, and it's something that's so much more personal. And again, so much bigger than me and bigger than what society expects of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So powerful. Well, and then speaking of doing bigger things even than you, I know that with your company too, you do charity events, right? Can you tell about that?
Yeah. So with all of our larger markets, we contribute a portion of the proceeds to some kind of charity, some kind of organization in the community. I love to open it up to our vendors that are participating in our events to ask them, what are the causes that mean the most to you? We actually had a vendor sometime last year during one of our events. Her mother has been battling a brain tumor for quite some time. So we donated a portion of our proceeds to the national, I think it's called the National Brain Tumor Association, for that market. So being able to give back to the community has always, been a big part of my why. And I think not just, supporting other women, but just supporting the world as much as we can to craft this powerful space where we're recognizing we're all human. We all need support. We all need to be here and help each other and show up for each other in every way that we can, I think is so important. And as a brand, I think we also have that responsibility to show up in that way so we can be role models for other brands, whether they're, brand new or they've been existing for a while but don't have that philanthropic aspect yet. We really do need to encourage everyone to come together and recognize that we have the power to make a difference, whether that's in our immediate circle or on a larger scale. We've donated from, ranging from national associations like the Brain Tumor Association to little communities and charities right in our own backyard, where we have, there was one in Berkeley. I don't know if anyone is from the Bay Area in your audience, but there is a beautiful charity in Berkeley that helps women and families find housing. So we've done a donation for them as well. And being able to go there in person, I think, makes the impact hit home even harder. But again, just being a reminder to everyone that when we come together, magic happens and we can make a real difference as long as we are willing to make that step forward.
Well, I love that you're saying that, when we come together, magic happens. And that is a very powerful statement that a lot of us, I think we can take more into account. Because sometimes when we allow fear to hold us back, maybe our dreams aren't big enough. Maybe we need to step out of ourselves a little bit more and then see the bigger picture. And that will force us and propel us forward in an even bigger way.
Mm-hmm. And even if you don't know what the big picture is, just keep showing up, right? It will reveal itself to you. As long as you have good intentions and you are making that commitment to you and to the people around you, it will unravel and reveal itself, just like it has for me, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that you have several events that you do. Is there an event that you have coming up that people could attend, at least locally?
Absolutely. So if there is anyone in the Bay Area, we would love to have you be a part of the events that we host. So we already have a whole lineup of vendor events in the Bay Area. So come support your local businesses. You can find that all on our website. But we do have our first big networking events that I'm really excited about. That's happening on June 20th. It's a Thursday evening from 5 to 8 p.m. in the beautiful Malibu Farm restaurant in Tiburon, California. That can also be found on our website. But if you are just looking to be surrounded by incredible women and really immerse yourself in that energy of women wanting to support other women, uplift each other, share our wins, cheers each other, and find other people to start forming those collaborations with to see really how big of an impact it can make on your business, then come and join us. I'm really excited about this one. And then after that, we're going to have another whole lineup of networking events separate from our vendor events. So come hang out, be a part of our community. We would love to have you. And even for those that are not local to the Bay Area, you can absolutely still be a part of our community. Our platform is really to highlight women-owned businesses, product and service-based businesses across the U.S. So, yeah, come be a part of it.
So how would people find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you or to learn more about your business?
Absolutely. So I'm very active on our Instagram. So our handle is right down there at the bottom. And then all of the information for our events and how you can be a part of our online women-owned small business directory, that is on our website. So it's just www.empoweredbywomen, spelled the same way, .com. And then, we do have a little chat feature there as well. So however you want to reach out to me, I'd always love to chat. I've said it a million times, but I love collaborating. So if you have any ideas for me, if you want to work together, I would be so happy and excited to hear what you have in mind and see what we can do together.
Well, you're such an inspiration in terms of this kind of involvement of yourself and going from one thing to the next and then just continuing to grow. So I'm curious, is there something that's next for you that you have in mind?
I feel like there's so many things. I think that's typical with entrepreneurs, right? We have so many different ideas. But right now, my focus is really on increasing the visibility for our platform because of our commitments to increasing the visibility for the people on our platform, right? So we are really looking to figure out how we can start hosting events further and further out from the Bay Area. Again, we want to go nationwide. So that is our mission, to become the go-to place for communities to connect with their favorite women-owned brands. So figuring out what the collaboration can look like across states, I think, is my next big move.
Well, it sounds so exciting. I love this idea of like having a platform that women can come and know where other women-supported businesses, are. They can come and support them and be a part of it as well.
Mhm.
So a win-win on both sides.
Absolutely.
What do you feel, would be a final message that you would share to women who might be looking to start something or branch out in a new way?
If it's been something that's been nagging at the back of your head, honestly, you are so worth just trying it out, right? You are so worth betting on yourself. Don't let yourself live with the regret and the what ifs. Everything is a learning experience. Nothing is going to be perfect. It is going to be messy, but it is going to be wonderful because it is your dream and it is your journey. And like I've said a million times, there are so many people out there that are waiting and willing to support you and cheer you on, but they are just waiting for you to show up. So do yourself that favor and show up for yourself. And then you will see in time that by doing that, you are showing up for everyone else around you.
I love that message. And I think it's incredibly inspiring because I know there are so many women who, they might be in a corporate role or they might be doing something else and they feel like it's just not possible. And so they keep putting it off. But we know that feeling, if it's not going away, there's something to pay attention to.
Yeah, you're meant to do it. Even if it doesn't, turn out in the long run or turns into something completely different, which happens, it's very common, at least you tried. And now you have a better understanding of what it is that you're meant to do and what that next step will be.
Which is very, very important as well. I mean, there is no such thing as perfection, I think, is what you mentioned earlier. It's like, it's about trying different things and seeing what happens.
Yeah. Perfection doesn't exist. The perfect moment doesn't exist. You really have to create those moments for yourself.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I think that's such a beautiful takeaway for us that we can carry and think about, when we're saying some of the thoughts that we say to ourselves or discounting some of the things that we bring and reminding ourselves that there really is so much more that we could be doing if we only just believe in ourselves a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And please stay tuned for next week's episode where we'll have another amazing guest. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to the Hello You Show. It's been a pleasure to have you with us on this journey today. If you found value in our conversation and want to support the show, please take a moment to like, follow, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd also deeply appreciate it if you could leave us a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also enables others seeking inspiration and authenticity to discover our community. Until next time, keep embracing your story with purpose.